Foundation in the nonprofit world. Everyone's kind of going for the same pot of money. So these smaller fundraisers like this, although a lot of effort goes into these do have bigger impact on the line itself. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I was not the killer. Was Whitney Bain from Goody Two Shoes. She's also the band teacher at Otter and Virgo. Virgo. Also, anybody have any questions for Geneva? All right. Road to Recovery. Yes, Lucia. I have to introduce you. We are at church one. Lucia, they're blaming you. So.
Yes,
are we ready to present at this time?
It's just the walk, the race, your update.
Oh, all righty.
From the sponsorship.
Okay, I see the agenda now. This is Loretta. My teammates are all here, letting you know Road to Recovery goes far and wide. We're a family organization. North Carolina, Texas, Albuquerque team, Roswell team. It was such a huge success. Thank you. Thank you, hospital. It just was so great to have them come out and help us like they do every year. DOH, Laurie, outstanding. We had presenters, we had vendors, and it was a beautiful day in Roswell. We're still waiting for our payout from racewire.com, but somebody counted maybe about 100. So we're really excited. Thank you, council members that supported us. We'll be reaching out to you again. We're going to keep the race in March because we can't trust January anymore. And so we're going to work with the schools and get scheduled again. So thank you for your support, and we'll reach out to you again next year. Help in any way that you can. Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions for Race to Recovery? Recovery to, yeah, that's right. Road to Recovery. All right. With that, we'll move on to the Health Council activities. The Behavioral Health and Wellness, Dan.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So we had our last meeting for the Behavioral Health Subcommittee, and we had that at the Chaves County Extension Office. We had a good number of people that came online and in person to work on the enhanced SIM mapping, which SIM mapping is simply finding what organizations align in behavioral health, in wraparound services, in substance abuse and misuse treatment. Especially for justice-involved individuals, we focused primarily at that meeting on youth because that was the one that we didn't have a lot of organizations in. So through everybody that was at that meeting, we pretty much filled everything out on that youth SIM map, and we have the adult SIM map pretty much completed. This activity is being done because the local collaborative 5, which aligns with the district courts in Lee, Eddy, and Chaves County, are the ones that have Senate Bill 3 money from 2 years ago that will be put into a plan for the Tri-County area. The SIM mapping goes to that, so to find the gaps and the opportunities. And so the LC5 Collaborative will be hosting at the beginning of May, and Carrie sent that out in the newsletters, a 3-day workshop in which basically the plan will continue to get finished and written and then submitted to the state just around a few weeks after that meeting. So we'll be taking that SIM map up on ideas, and we continue, Carrie and I, to attend the LC5 Collaborative workshops planning in Carlsbad to kind of push for the Chaves County needs. Next meeting, behavioral health meeting, will be April the, oh, help me out here, Carrie. I think it was the 22nd.
27th, yeah.
Thank you. And that's at noon, and it will be at the Alianza offices. And that's all that I have.
questions for Dan on the behavioral health? All right, moving on, Danny, together with veterans.
Hello, hello. So we do have the Roswell Honda golf tournament that is coming up on April 18th. Jennifer does have some 50-50 raffle tickets there, I believe. Is that correct, Jen? Yep, and she's waving her file. So if you would like to, those tickets are $10 a piece. And let me see. So we had a really good QPR person. We had 4 people who show up for QPR. So there's 4 more people that are trained for QPR. If you're interested, please let us know because we do have the dates scheduled throughout the year. And if you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the Roswell Honda golf tournament, just let Jen know or myself know or Rick or any of the steering committee members, Carrie also, and we can get you taken care of. Jen,
We
is there?
have packets. We have packets over on the table for event sponsors and for the whole sponsors. So the whole sponsors are $100 each. And it's unlimited how many you can get, and you'll have a sign at the whole with your organization on it for $100. The event ones they're a little more, but they have levels for them. So there's that as well. The deadline for that is for both those sponsorships is Friday. So if you want to get in last minute, we have that. If you want golf ball drop tickets, I have plenty here. They're $10 a piece. The more we sell, the bigger the pot is. It's a 50-50 drawing. So we get half and you get half. And they start off the pot with $500. So there's already $500, and I believe we've already sold at least 100. I haven't counted yet. We'll find out Friday exactly how many we've sold so far. But the more we sell, the bigger that pot is.
And you don't have to be present to win.
No, you do not. You do not. And that'll take place on April 19th. And they'll contact the winner afterwards. They take a helicopter up and drop a bunch of golf balls down, and whichever one gets closest to the hole is the winner.
Oh, one slide.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like it's gonna be a really neat.
And to answer some of the questions we've gotten, no, you cannot ride in the helicopter, pay for. No, you cannot push out your friends. In the skydive. All right, any other questions about Together with Veterans?
Thank you.
All right. The next QPR training is scheduled for May 16th. There is a QR code down at the bottom you can scan and sign up if you are interested. Anybody in the community can participate. So if you have others in your organization or friends, families, whomever, let us know. We can get them all signed up on QPR. I'm sorry? Time. 12 to 3. Yeah, 12 to 3. On the 16th. On the 16th.
Yes, May 16th. And that was it. We hold most of those at the American Legion.
Health Expo. So we are pushing through on that. There is Health Expo packets up front if anybody is interested in being a sponsor or getting a booth. Right now we're still at early bird pricing on the booth, so it's $50. It will go up in May to $75. So if you want it cheaper, do it now. We're looking at real heavy in the screenings. So if your organization does screenings and you can't necessarily do the 50, call me, talk to me. We do have some leeway and some workaround to be able to do that. The school district is not doing their big event the day before ours. They are now partnered with us. So the school district will be there based off Saturday's event where they said they had 3,000 people in attendance. that means that our attendance was way over 3,000 last year. Probably pushing more to 5,000 or 6,000. Based off of those numbers. It's kind of hard to do a count at the mall, because there's too many doors. So it's always just been kind of a guess.
And I was doing the child abuse awareness event last Saturday. We had it at Encanto Event Center. Encanto has cameras that count the number of people that come in, so that's how we knew how many people were there. And just being there, seeing that many people and knowing how many were at the expo as well, there was at least double the people at last year's expo. That's what we had there. So
Yeah.
it's a large event.
So this is a good way to get your information out into the community. And again, heavy on pushing screenings, trying to get people who don't necessarily have insurance or can't afford stuff, or who just don't go to the doctors to get them looked at to see if maybe they need to make that appointment. If you have any questions on that, you can always call 211 on anything that you have questions on. We can answer information, provide information. It's just easier to dial 211 than anything else, but all this is also up on the Health Council website. Any questions on the expo? All right, with that, we are going to move into our presentations. Rick is up first with the Boys and Girls Club.
So just like she said, can you guys hear me online?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Rick. I am the CEO for the Boys and Girls Club for Roswell and Ruidoso. We're going to hit on some kind of 3 different topics that I've combined together. Childhood trauma, which comes in many, many forms. There's one form that has been talked about extensively lately, and we will talk a little bit about that. But there's also many other forms of childhood trauma. We're going to talk about safety and really what that looks like in general when it comes to children and young adults. And then we're going to talk about the power of mentorship. I'm actually really happy that Big Brothers Big Sisters here as well, because they deal with mentorship as well. And I don't think that everybody truly understands what mentorship is, even at its very, very basic form. So we're really going to just kind of dive into this. I'm hoping that by the time I get through this, you guys have a pretty good understanding of a lot of this stuff. I did have a really good speech put together, and then some things were brought to my attention today that kind of are going to get thrown in. So this may be a little convoluted as I go through, but I hope that you guys can learn some things through this. So before we begin any of this, I really want you guys to take a moment and just think about something. Imagine a child walking into a youth program. They laugh with their friends. They play games. They may even look like everything is perfectly normal on a day-to-day basis. But what we often don't see is the storm they carry within them when they walk through that door. We don't see the inability they may have, or the instability they may have experienced at home. We don't see the fear they may have lived with. We don't see the trauma. And many times we don't see how that is shaping their world that they live each and every day. The reality is childhood trauma and exploitation are far more common than most people realize. Across the United States, the Department of Justice estimates that approximately 300 to 400,000 children are sexually exploited every year. Many of those youth are teenagers, often between the ages of 14 to 17 years old, but it can be much younger than that too. And this isn't even something that only happens somewhere else. This actually happens right here in New Mexico, all over. Here in New Mexico, law enforcement has identified dozens of trafficking survivors in a single year, with services providers identifying over 200 victims in the same time. And experts believe the real number is much, much higher. It's so much higher, actually. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but there is a map in the United States called red.org. And in this map, there are tons and tons of red dots all over that map, and maybe a couple blue dots. Those red dots are active people who are pursuing exploitation of children. Those blue dots, which are significantly less, are children or are cases that are actually being looked into. So this is not something that is just kind of a push under the rug or whatever. This is something that is happening everywhere. This is happening in rural communities. This is happening in cities. This is happening everywhere. This happens to youth we work with. They could have potentially experienced this trauma. We have kids that come to the club that have experienced this trauma, and they are 6 or 7 years old. And that's something that they have to live with their entire life. In New Mexico, nearly 1 in 5 children have experienced 2 or more adverse childhood experiences, and those are called ACEs. This could be abuse or neglect, domestic violence, substance abuse in the home, mental health challenges, incarceration of parents, or just the basic instability of a house. And nationally, about 2/3 of adults report at least 1 adverse childhood experience, which means childhood trauma is not there's not an exception. This is the reality. Just to kind of give you a picture, I have a kid at the club who had a dad who's no longer in the picture, thank God, who was extremely abusive to mom. And now he's turning around and being abusive to sister. And this is how this stuff comes out. It's not something simple that is, you know, maybe they hide themselves or they go hide in a corner, or it can come out in 1,000 different ways. And this is something that we really need to pay attention to. Because for many of the young people we serve, this truly is their reality. Trauma changes how a child experiences safety. When safety is inconsistent, the brain adapts. Not to trust, but to survive. Their nervous system is constantly scanning for danger, which means the behaviors we see, whether it's anger, withdrawal, defiance, shutting down, abuse to others. It's not always a discipline problem. It's not always somebody who doesn't, a parent who doesn't actually discipline their child. It's really a child who is dealing with things that some of us could never imagine. Often they are survival responses, and this is where everything connects. Trauma creates vulnerability. Youth who feel disconnected, unseen, or who are searching for belonging are exactly who traffickers target. And one thing that really stood out to me, of course, is that board. It's truly shocking. Cities, small towns, everywhere. What it shows, though, is there are thousands of individuals online actively searching, and very few people who are actively trying to help, or at least purposefully trying to help. It starts small, though. It starts as a message, a compliment, a gift, a conversation, but that turns into grooming. And grooming is where we really get into a lot of problems. This is where we lose children. This is where we lose middle schoolers. This is where we lose teens. And this isn't something that's distant, and it's not something that's very rare. This is something that is happening all around us. I have taken a ton of training. And this training has allowed me to see things that I never honestly thought I would ever see. I have taken Presidium safety training, which was about 20 hours. It allowed me to really do a top-down review of our organizations from safety, from how we handle kids to how we handle our policies. If you guys would really sit down and look at our policies, they're not even close to where I want them at. They're pretty extensive. But policy writing isn't just about writing them on a piece of paper, putting them on a computer so everybody can feel good about themselves. It's the employees. And it's them understanding why we have the policies that we have and why it's so important to make sure that we're following those. I've done sexual abuse prevention training. I have done more trainings with Boys and Girls Club I can't even imagine. And it really was yesterday where I sat down and understood why all of these trainings are so helpful. I sat down for a second interview and watched a young lady fall into tears because of some basic interview questions. But that tells me that there is more trauma in this world than what people can ever truly understand. We need to be careful about that because if we are interviewing somebody, if we are working with somebody, if we are mentoring somebody, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, and those trauma responses come out, we really need to know how to respond to it. Because right now there's a whole lot of people responding it into a really, really wrong way. And it's causing a whole lot more issues. They reinforce some very big problems that need to be introduced. So let's get into mentoring now. Because each and every single person sitting in this room is a mentor, even if you don't realize it. You could be a mentor to that person who you work with. If you're a boss, you're a mentor to your employees. If you deal with kids, you're a mentor to those kids. And the reality is it's not just something that takes a whole lot of training. Being a mentor doesn't. Caring is what it really comes down to. Taking that moment to sit down, to listen, to have a conversation, to discuss something, to be there when somebody needs somebody to be there. That's a mentor. And it's very basic. That's Big Brothers Big Sister teaches it. I teach it at the Boys and Girls Club. Mentors are not people with certificates and and degrees and all of these other things. Mentors are an everyday person willing to sit down and truly listen. Because many who experience trauma struggle to trust adults. But when someone shows up consistently, then trust can start to rebuild. At the club, we have a shirt. I had it made when I first started working there, and a lot of the older staff still have it. It's called, it says it only takes one. And it's written multiple times on it. It's one of my favorite shirts. And that's really the truth. If you think that you don't have the ability to help somebody, the reality is it only takes one person. It takes that one person to make somebody feel like they belong. That there's consistency in something that they deal with. Because many youth come from chaos. When we're consistent, we create predictability. And as adults, we don't realize this, but predictability, even though it seems so boring, is so important for so many people at a young age. Predictability builds trust, and trust is truly everything. Being a mentor is difficult. It's very heavy. And the reason is because when you start going down that road, you're going to find things out that you just never wanted to really know. But that person needs to talk about it. But this is why supporting each other matters. Because when staff, when kids, when the people around us truly feel supported, they feel it too. So when I take, that's 10, okay. So when I reflect on the trainings I've taken, they all point back to one thing. Our role is not just to supervise our youth. Our role is to protect, support, and mentor them. So I leave you with these thoughts. We may never fully know what a young person carries when they walk through our doors, but we can control what they experience once they arrive. We can create safety. We can build trust. When you feel like they belong, they are less vulnerable, less likely to seek validation from unsafe people, more likely to believe in themselves. And sometimes mentorship is simple. It's listening, it's checking in, it's encouraging, it's holding them accountable with respect. These moments may feel small to us, but to a young person, they can mean everything. Another key part of safety is how we respond to behavior. When you feel overwhelmed, they're not thinking logically. They're in survival mode. So lectures don't work. Arguments don't work. What works first is calm. A calm voice, clear expectations, space to regulate. Because regulated adults create a regulated environment. And this is something that people don't realize. we have to be regulated ourselves to help create that environment. Once a child is called, we can be the adult who notices. We can give them something they may not have elsewhere. A place where they feel safe, a place where they feel supported, a place where they feel believed in. Because when a child finally feels safe, everything changes. They begin to trust, they begin to grow, and they begin to believe that they truly have a future. Thank you.
Do you have questions for Rick?
Questions online?
Thank you very much. That was very informative. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Are there any trauma-informed trainings, classes, or anything that anybody puts on that anybody can take?
Boys and Girls Club is looking into that. We need to do community events or events, and stuff like that. So, I am looking into trying to start doing, trauma classes, especially I am a trainer for Presidium. And so those classes, you know, we can start actually doing stuff like that. Understand though, as we get these trauma classes going and we sit down and you really take this, it's not easy. You know, we have every staff member that comes to the club, before they can start, before they can be around the kid, they have to take a sexual prevention training. And it's an hour and a half training. And I can tell you right now, an hour and a half training turns into 3 hours or 4 hours. Because you have to pause, you have to take a minute, you have to realize that there's things that happen that the normal world doesn't always realize, because we've been really good at blocking that stuff out, not purposefully, but just because nobody wants to really understand how bad it really is. And I'm telling you, when you come to a trauma training, be prepared. QPR training is a great training to start off with, because you do start learning how to manage trauma.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For those the children that do show up to the Boys and Girls Club, do you have some kind of skills that they can learn so that they can go through whatever situation it is that they've had, you know, trauma, whatever it may be. You know, I believe that sometimes that's what happens. Like you were mentioning the young man that followed his father's footsteps, making abuse, becomes a cycle, and it's a learned behavior. So I don't know if there's like training they can go through to avoid the cycle or break that cycle. I'm just wondering.
I don't have any specifically for kids. I mean, we do have Boys and Girls Club has many different programs. I don't know exactly what programs Big Brothers Big Sisters has, so that might be a question for them as well. But I mean, honestly, a lot of my time, especially when kids are there, is sitting down and having a conversation and talking with them and working through and helping them to really process what they're dealing with and what they're struggling with. Especially when you have parents who break down in tears because they just don't know what to do anymore. 4 years, May 2nd, I have been with the Boys and Girls Club. 4 years, I have seen, taken, and heard more trauma from children than I could have ever possibly imagined. And I love my job, but it really is a lot of conversations. It's just like training a child to be a normal human being. The unfortunate truth is that we're pushing through a storm of trauma at the exact same time.
Remember?
We're kind of like three things. Okay, so
Okay, I was just going to ask if you're aware of any training to help prevent some of these things that are being given to our kids in the public school system. Because unfortunately, a lot of same traits that unhealthy people that we don't want to be around our children are the same traits as good mentors. You know, some of those things, giving small gifts, paying attention, complimenting them and stuff. Those are all things mentors do also. And so how is a child supposed to know the difference when they're getting involved with someone as to who's safe and who is not? Is there any kind of training being done, safety?
Well, when we did the training for, the human sex trafficking summit that Jan had put on, there was a discussion and there was, material about how it does mimic each other. I can talk, yeah.
Yeah, the children,
Dan's actually on, yeah.
do you know what the children are being taught, anything?
Well, the school district it was paid for, and the school district has not utilized that yet. It is curriculum. And, although it was paid for, they have not yet implemented that.
So maybe,
curriculum.
so perhaps some parents and concerned citizens should stir that pot.
Yeah, there has, I mean, it could be done in a health class, it doesn't have to be put into the whole curriculum,
Right.
it could be added in. There you go.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where the problem lies with the school district is because you have those who do not want it anywhere near their children. And then you have those who feel children need to be informed. And so,
That's where you get a permission slip to attend the class and hope you at least reach some kids, and then kids are gonna talk to each other.
Warren, does the hospital do trauma informed like through the ER?
Not any kind, we do de-escalation, but we trauma informed, especially public type sessions, they do therapy and skills based items up on the sunrise room. But we're not doing general public,
But are they trained?
not trauma based care, we're looking that way, but we'll have a program. All of our stuff right now is trauma training, which is more of a de-escalation. More of a, how we get an acute situation, yes, and work with psychiatrists and stuff. But I don't think we have the formal trauma use. We've talked about it a couple different times, get that program,
He had a question really fast and then.
Yeah, just real quick, what's the age range that you serve?
We serve 5-year-olds up to middle school. Middle school is a little harder right now, but I am hopefully working with the school district to get into schools and be able to help them directly as soon as they get out of school. So that's where we work now. Goal is, of course, always 18 years old.
So executive council with folks in big church and so there's no.
We'll have a conversation and something like that.
Just to answer your question, I work with students in the Life and Learning Average School Program. And we touched on all that on prevention. How to handle your anger, what to do instead of hitting someone or destroying property. How to protect your body from someone, just all kinds of different topics. And we do elementary, middle school, and we're at University of Life. Hopefully Buffalo Language. So, it's a prevention that hopefully is working.
Okay, we have time for one last question and then that's it. We have to move on.
I have,
Yeah,
are you still looking to open up a club in either Hagerman or Dexter area in the valley?
so Hagerman is still on the books. Dan and I still have conversations. There's just some things that need to be worked out. And then once we move through that, the plan right now is to get into to start at the beginning of this next school year in Hagerman. So that's where we're at this moment.
Okay, because they are going to be rebuilding the elementary middle school. And so the current elementary school is going to be open up for discussion as to what they're going to do with it.
Thank you for giving me that information. I may need to go have a conversation with somebody.
All right, due to time, our next discussion is from Road to Recovery.
I'll start out, Carrie. This is Loretta Huerta. I'm the race director for Road to Recovery. And thank you, that Boys and Girls Club, amazing work. You brought back so many memories, 34 years, retired educator now, 16 as a counselor, and another 18 as a school administrator. I see those faces. I saw those faces. I worked with those faces that you described to us so vividly. Important work that you're doing. I want you, as Lucia begins to present today, also 39 years educator. Lucia has probably had 1,500 kids in front of her in her career. And imagine the impact a teacher can make. So she was a perfect person today to present data on youth from the Youth Resiliency Survey that middle and high school students take. But you're the choir, 140 members and 34 people present today. Thank you for showing up today. I hope others will read the notes and learn that we need to empower to do something more for Chaves County. We're passionate about reaching youth, and so we're always looking for resources, speaking to parents, and just wanting to let people know how important it is that we invest and educate our youth well. Think back when you were in middle school and high school. It wasn't weird. You're not strange. You're not a crazy person. If you ever did any of the things Lucia's going to describe, I just want you to put yourself back in the place where you were. And there were milestones in your life in those early years where you were who you are today because you had a choice and you made it. And so that's all we want to do is have you think about these choices that students are making and what are the trends and what is the data saying? And then think one day, can this mighty council of 140 members come together for an important event for youth that really reaches across what Rick was talking about and what you're going to hear about today. So with that, I turn it over to Lucia Athena, and she will go over the information that we want to share with you today and hope that something grows out of this, that we empower ourselves to do something more for our youth. Okay, Lucia.
I'm Lucia Pena. I'm coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm going to assume, Carrie, you're going to take care of changing the screen on the presentation.
Yeah, but just also so you know, you're down to 6 minutes and 50 seconds.
Okay, you know what? I can be quick. Thank you for that, Carrie. If we can just go to we can skip a couple of slides. So that was just our agenda. We want to go over a few, want to do middle school, high school, introduce a program, a DA program, Operation Prevention, and let you know of Serenity Mesa, which we work out of in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we can go into the next slide. This right here is it's the Youth Resiliency Survey that was taken in 2003. The reason I'm showing this slide is because we have 83% accurate students that took this, which gives this an excellent representation of the youth in Chaves County, grades 6 through 8. I do understand, since this was 2003, all of these students are now in high school. So let's go to the next slide, which we only, this is just a breakdown of who took it, and pretty much it's 50-50 boys and girls, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, 8th grade being the largest representation of the survey, but pretty much everyone was equal in the 30%. So we can go into the next slide. Also, as a team, Road to Recovery, this survey brought out everything you'd want to know about the youth in Chaves County. What we did is we are looking at a roadmap to help with the council and Chaves County youth because of our program that we started trying to reach the youth in Chaves County. So we started with our mental health, and if we look through mental health, I have Chaves County in the blue. The symptoms of depression is the one which a little bit elevated over the state of New Mexico, but if you can look at we're pretty much consistent with, Chaves County is consistent with the state of New Mexico. the seriously considering suicide, when I look at that number, I'm thinking 1 in 4 middle school students have seriously considered suicide. And we have to look at this is the data from 2003. So we can go into the next slide quickly. And I'm just going to point out a couple. This one is the tobacco use in Chaves County. And there's a few in here, but the one we were going to look at was the first using the vape pen at age 11. And the younger the research will show the younger they start, then they're going to consistently use tobacco or the vape pen. But again, you can see that Chaves County is consistent with the rest of New Mexico, and it is even lower with secondhand smoke. So the next slide will show us the alcohol use in, again, Chaves County is in the blue. Again, if you look, we are pretty consistent with the rest of the state. The ever drink alcohol is slightly elevated with state of New Mexico. And again, the current alcohol use is the one we were looking at because that's where our roadmap is going to take us to target the youth. And then this is all middle school. We're going to go into, we can go into the next slide, Carrie. This is the drug use in Chaves County. Again, we have it in blue. And if you can see, Chaves County is lower than through the state of New Mexico, except where they use marijuana before the age 11. That's another one we were looking at because it gives us a roadmap of who to target. We've always felt as a team that we wanted to target the youth, and this survey gave us so much information of where we could start. And we were targeting high school. Now we're thinking we want to even start targeting middle school students. So the next slide will give us just the key takeaways. And I know some of you have copy of this PowerPoint to take with you, and we can get questions later on. If you send your email, we can answer all your questions. But these were some key takeaways as far as the 4 slides that I showed you. And we're going to go into the high school. So we can go to the next slide, Carrie. Same thing, 70% of the student population took this in Chaves County. So it is an excellent representation of the population in high school. So we can go to the next slide. Again, it was pretty much 50-50. With the seniors, the 12th grade being the largest representation of this survey. So we'll go to the next one where we can see this one is our mental health. So again, we're in blue, and we are consistent throughout the state of New Mexico as far as where we fall. We are, it dipped a little where the feeling of hopelessness or sadness, but the attempted suicide is still a little lower than New Mexico, but higher for our team. Again, that's something we're going to concentrate on. So we'll go to the next slide. This one is tobacco use. And again, if you can see New Mexico, not New Mexico's, Chaves County is lower throughout the state of New Mexico. The current e-cigarette is probably the one we would target as far as our team. So we'll go to the next slide so we can get through this one. Again, is drinking. This was our concern with the binge drinking and also the drinking and driving. We did get some information when we spoke to Regina because this is elevated from the state of New Mexico. There are no driving programs available for anyone to call Uber, Lyft. So that's not available in New Mexico. So this is one of our other target areas that we wanted to concentrate on. And so we can go to the next slide. Carrie, so this is okay, I will go. So I'm going to go real quick with this is the drug use in Chaves County, and which the most elevated would be the marijuana use right now. So we can go down a couple because I do want to, let's go. This is just the next step. So let's go to the next one because I really want to talk about Operation Prevention. This is a free science-based drug misuse program that the DEA has put out. What I did not put on this slide, it is bilingual, so you can, for the Spanish speaking population, it is available in Spanish. It is teaches the science behind addiction. It builds healthy decision making. It can be used as early as third grade. If the schools are not going to use it, because the schools have their own program, parents can use this at home. It's an online free program. This is a program that Road to Recovery has studied. We've researched it. We've gone through the entire program, and as former educators, we believe this program can make a difference if we can target having students use this, because it is a free online. Now I'm going to go into the next slide, which would be Serenity Mesa. What I want to say about Serenity Mesa, it is the only detox center in the state of New Mexico that will service ages 14 to 24. It sits on 10 acres of land here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is a beautiful, beautiful place. We volunteer there. It is a recovery. So if we get the youth to detox there, they can automatically transition into their rehab center, and it will take you up to age 24. It will help you get a job. It will set you up in an apartment. It will give you the resources you need when you are struggling. And this is a program, a place that we truly, truly believe in. And we need all of the state of New Mexico to know that Serenity Mesa is there, especially for the youth. It's the only one in the state. And I know they work with grants, they work with your insurance, but if you can't afford it, it is completely free. That is what we want to get across, and it is an excellent program. The next slide just tells what it would, it will, if they relapse into homelessness, they will take you in. It is empowering youth for success. It is a program that we believe in. And I know I went through this very, very quickly, but I do want to say that we're working with the council to reach the youth of Chaves County through New Mexico. If you have any questions, you can leave your information in the text box. We will get back to you. I know this was quick, but it was worth going through quickly. Thank you, Carrie, for your time, and thank you, all of you that are in attendance.
I will ask that next time you norm it for both groups to have the amount of time required that we're given, because the questions that were asked of the previous group took some of our time. We're available to speak to anybody. We're speaking to DOH next month. So we go to schools. We've been to high schools. We go everywhere to get this message out. We'd like to be available to you and your staff. And so put the inquiry out. There's much more, but we're here. We attend every month, and we'll keep talking about this as long as it takes to get people to listen. Thank you, Lucia. Good job.
Right, thanks.
Did anybody have any questions for them? Go ahead.
What is your patient capacity and what is the waiting time if there is one?
They do have a waiting list at Serenity Mesa. They can take up, I want to say, up to 25 people there at the rehab center that they have there, as far as the students. But then they also have apartments outside. So I am not sure how many apartments they have for the older adults. The older ones ranging from 21 up to 24, they are not housed there at the rehab center. At Serenity Mesa, they have their own homes that they are working out of. That is because we do not work with the older, the 21 through 24. We're working with the youth up through age 18. Those are the ones that are housed at the Serenity Mesa home.
I also have a question. This is Celia Fisher online. I wanted to know if Serenity Mesa would open anywhere else besides in Albuquerque, because I feel like our youth across the state definitely
Yes.
need this, as
Yes.
we know that the reason that our 25 to 37-year-olds are having higher numbers of overdose across New Mexico are because of the ACEs that these children have had to go through, or the traumas that they've gone through. And it would be nice to finally be able to touch ground with our youth and make sure that everything is good as they grow, instead of having to see them in the next 10, 20 years in this same statistics that we've shown in the last 5 years.
Well, when Loretta and I first volunteered at Serenity Mesa, I'm going to be quick. We were only attending health fairs or attending schools in Albuquerque. Lou Duran, who's one of the founders of Serenity Mesa, because she lost her son to a fentanyl overdose, has now let us branch out. We have gone to Grants, we have gone to Santa Fe, and we do bring the Serenity Mesa information anywhere we go in when we are in Roswell. We have worked the
The expo.
the expo.
We
That's
bring
I
it to
can
the
think of the
expo
name.
as well.
The
Yeah.
expo. We also represent Serenity Mesa at the expo to bring that out. As far as I know, Lou Duran is allowing us to branch out to the state of New Mexico. But as far as looking to set up a house there, that has not come up. But she is. We are branching out to give the information to the state of New Mexico. And I would think with enough people using that service, they would branch out to other communities. But that is something that we will bring up to Serenity Mesa to see if they are even considering. That is an excellent question. I never even thought to ask if they'd branch out. But thank you for that. And we will bring it up. And once we get the answer to that question, we will bring it up, Cecilia.
Thank you.
Lucia, this is
David, I
Joanne.
have one
You know,
question.
we have a question, contact info. If you could put the contact info of Serenity Club in the chats.
Of Serenity Mesa?
Serenity Mesa, yes.
Okay.
We did provide lots of handouts and brochures to the people that are in attendance today. But also, I've left my contact information, and I would gladly be able to send out anything to anybody who writes in.
Guys, with that, I'm gonna have to stop for the questions. So we'll do the gift card drawing. Our next membership meeting is May 13th. We are right now moved to the library, so we'll be here again. Free is the winner.
Oh, me.
Behavioral health meeting is April 27th, membership meeting is May 13th, QPR training, May 16th, Health Expo, and the fun run sign up, which is what the t-shirt design is close to what's on that flyer. And the behavioral health workshop for the LC5, which is Lee, Chatham, Eddy County, is scheduled for the first week of May. With that, it's 1 o'clock, and I call this health council meeting to an end. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So did I win?
Free one.
Dang it.